In the rolling hills of the Eastern Cape, a young boy named Nelson Mandela was born, unaware that his name would one day echo through history. From his small village, he learned lessons of community, respect, and the power of unity, the foundations of his future strength. But the winds of change swept across South Africa, a nation divided by race and ruled by fear. As injustice grew, so did his resolve. He traded comfort for purpose and fear for courage. He spoke not for himself, but for the millions whose voices were silenced by apartheid. But the government saw him as a threat, and their answer was swift and merciless. He was arrested and taken away, but his spirit remained unbroken. The world outside grew darker, yet within him burned a quiet fire, the belief that freedom was worth any cost. As the gates of Robben Island closed behind him, his journey of struggle and transformation had only begun. The iron gates of Robben Island clanged, shut behind Mandela, sealing him within walls built to crush hope. Days turned into months, and months into years. Mandela and his comrades labored endlessly in the limestone quarry, blinded by the glare of the sun. Every strike of his hammer was more than labor. It was defiance, discipline, and faith in a distant freedom. Each scar on his hands told a story of endurance, of sacrifice, and of an unbreakable spirit. When the day's work ended, his cell awaited, cold, narrow, and silent. But within that silence, his resolve only deepened. Letters from home arrived rarely, yet each one carried warmth enough to melt the chill of confinement. Books became his companions, his teachers, his quiet rebellion against ignorance and despair. In the company of fellow prisoners, he taught, listened, and inspired. Their chains could not silence their hope. He found power not in anger, but in patience, forging strength from suffering and purpose from pain. Years passed, but time did not defeat him. It refined him, shaping a man of steel beneath a calm smile. In the silence of his cell, Mandela discovered a new kind of freedom, one born within the mind and heart. He began to see his captors not as monsters, but as men trapped by fear as he was by walls. Each act of patience, each moment of dignity became a silent protest, a rebellion of the soul. He found strength not in resistance alone, but in restraint, mastering his emotions as a weapon of wisdom. With every lesson he shared, Mandela transformed despair into discipline. The cell became a classroom of hope. Knowledge became his weapon. Through study, conversation, and reflection, he built the foundation for a nation yet to be born. He began to see himself not as a prisoner, but as a leader in preparation, his purpose forged in isolation. The man who entered prison in chains was slowly transforming, learning to lead through patience, wisdom, and empathy. His enemies began to see what his friends already knew, that his strength could not be contained by walls or chains. He had entered a prisoner, but within those walls, Nelson Mandela became something far greater, the heart of a movement, unbreakable and unbowed. After 27 long years, the iron gates finally opened, and Mandela walked out, not with anger but with grace. The crowd erupted. Their hero had returned, a living symbol of forgiveness and unbroken spirit. He spoke not of vengeance, but of unity, his words healing a nation torn apart by hate. Years of struggle had shaped him into something extraordinary, a man of peace forged in the fire of oppression. In the first democratic election, millions lined up for hours, not to fight, but to choose their future together. The world watched in awe as Nelson Mandela cast his vote. The prisoner had become the president. On the day of his inauguration, the man who once wore chains now wore the hopes of a nation. The journey from cell to ceremony had reshaped not just a man, but the destiny of an entire nation. Through forgiveness, he conquered hatred. Through humility, he conquered history itself. From prisoner to president, Nelson Mandela's triumph was not over his enemies, but over the darkness within mankind itself. Nelson Mandela's journey was not just about one nation's freedom. It was about showing the world what courage truly means. He proved that forgiveness is stronger than revenge, and that love can outlast even decades of pain. Mandela taught us that real strength lies not in fighting others, but in mastering ourselves. His story reminds us that even in our darkest moments, hope can still rise if we choose to believe. Let us carry Mandela's spirit within us, to forgive, to stand for justice, and to believe that one person can change the world.